Everybody, what's up, you ravishing, beautiful viewers? This is Asada, and you are tuned into Gathering of the Griots. That's right. It's that time, Tuesday morning, where we bring you authors of our delight. Big time. But before we get started with our awesome authors today, let's pay homage to the Female Solution, which is the program that brings us life and makes it possible for us to be here. So let's take a look and see what it's all about.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
All right, this is the Female Solution. Let it be known. This is where sisters come and make it happen every day of the week. Actually, there's a different show, but you on Tuesday, and Gathering of the Griots is what we are. So before we get into interviewing the lovely Brenda Major and Mia Dawson, children's authors, it is Title Tuesday, baby. Hashtag Title Tuesday. And so what that means is that for the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, which will be coming up August 9th, we feature titles that are going to be at the event and that you can purchase. And so let's take a look. Oh, what we got going on here. Title Tuesday, Kids Around the World by Daryl Harvey. All right, you children's mamas and grandmamas, get ready. Also, Anthony Breaks His Promise, also by Daryl Harvey. Hashtag Title Tuesday. Hashtag Title Tuesday. Demon Hunt. Let's get a little fiction going on by Fanny Price. Carnival of the Lost, also by Fanny Price. Hashtag Title Tuesday. Doing Me by Pamela Author. Hashtag Title Tuesday. Then My Dog Neighbor. That's right. By Peggy, what's my girl's name? Peggy Colbert. How could I get that wrong? Peggy Colbert. That's right. Hashtag Title Tuesday. I'd Rather Be With You by Kay Shani. Hashtag Title Tuesday. Test Your Medical and Healthcare Knowledge, a word search book. Go ahead, Black people. Get them word search books out there. I love it. Then The Woman of the Waiting Room, also by Sandra Washington. That previous book was by Sandra Washington also. Hashtag Title Tuesday. And then we got, this for grown folks. This is by Tony Lindsay. Hashtag Title Tuesday brings you emotional drippings. Lord. Oh my gosh. Then we got some big time educators coming to the table. Time to Rebuild Understanding Between Students and Teachers. That's right. That's the EDU coaches, the EDU urban coaches for that matter. And we have Amazing Is My Superpower, Our Autism Journey. That's by my girl, Aloha. She was here last week, Aloha Hadley. And that's what we got featured for today, guys. Bringing you the titles. We bring them every week. We're going to bring you new titles to the table. And fiction, nonfiction, children's. It's so many. I don't know. I might have to keep adding them every week and do more than a dozen, but we'll see what we come up with before we get to our big event August 9th. But mark your calendars for that. And so without further ado, my people, we are going to bring the ladies to the stage. I don't just take this stage and have it on my own. I share it with other queens, bringing on Brenda Major and Mia Dawson. Yeah.
Hey.
How are you, ladies?
Fantastic.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
You all look wonderful. I'm so happy you're here. And I love my children's writers. I love it because, it just takes more than a notion, more than just, I'm going to write a book. You have to put yourself in the place of the young people that are going to be experiencing it so that you can think of one, what you want to say to them, but also how they're going to receive it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. But first, where are you ladies from? I want to know where you're from, where you hail from.
I actually am originally from Chicago, but I now live in Decatur, Illinois, central Illinois.
Okay, cool. And what about you, Mia?
I'm originally from Decatur, and I'm
Oh,
actually in Springfield. I'm in the capital.
oh, you are. Get out of here. Okay, cool. But still keeping it Illinois. You still
Still
keeping it
keeping it
Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
Let's keep it Illinois now. Like me and my New York transplant self. Let's keep it Illinois. But I love Chicago. There's nothing you could tell me. I'm so glad that I came here, primarily because I really wouldn't have connected with you guys if I wasn't here. I don't know. I feel like I was sent here because my
are.
connection, I for real, my connection with Black authors just wasn't this magnanimous before I got here, and so I love it. So tell me a little bit about how in the world did this come about? How did you all? It's one thing for one person to have an idea to do something, but it's another thing when you can find someone to work with that you're in sync with enough to get a project done. So how did you all meet and create your books about Neo? Talk about that.
Well, let me start it. My son got diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. And I was beside myself with all the therapy, with all the going through all this different stuff. And I was like, I got depressed. That's honestly, I got depressed. And so Brenda has been a family friend for years. And I called her, it was around Christmas. I'm almost positive it was around Christmas. And I called her in tears, crying. Like, I'm just upset, depressed. I want to be talking about something fun. I want to be talking about something happy and just not about all this therapy. And so I pitched the idea about a children's book for Neo. Neo loved to read. And I wanted to find a way to also connect with him. And so I called her. I know it was around Christmas, Brenda. You got to make sure. I think it was around Christmas. As a matter of fact, you were coming back from somewhere, from visiting your family. And I was like, we got to do something. And she was already prepared. So let her tell you what she was feeling when I called her, crying like, I need help. We got to do something.
I was in a kind of a state of transition at my job, actually. Still working there, but things were moving around, and I was pretty close, very close with Mia's sister, Sparkle.
Yep.
And you're right, it was around Christmas because Sparkle gave me this little notepad and a card for my birthday, which was also in December. And she said, you need to get back to writing. And I thought, yep, you're probably right. So when Mia pitched the idea to me, I thought, okay, I know this is you, God. So, okay, let's just do it. And you know how God gives you that inspiration. And Mia gave me the idea of, he loves to read. He really likes colors. And again, being close to the family. So I knew them very well. And so that's really how it started.
Wow. But where'd the friendship come from? Like, how do you know who to call? Like, we know a lot of people, but how did you know to call Mia about your situation?
Yeah. It really came about because I had been working at a university with her sister. So she knew me well. And so I met Mia and her husband because we go to the same church.
Yeah. I see.
So, so I've literally known Neo, the subject of our books, since he was in the womb.
He was in the womb. Yeah, since he was in the womb. Yeah.
To be honest with you. And honestly, when he started to, grow and develop, and Mia can tell you this story better than I could, but he was, just a normal little toddler.
Yeah.
And then he kind of shut down. And I remember asking her, do you think he might have autism? And so, I mean, we were close enough that, that I could ask that question without her, tripping or anything. So she can tell you the rest of that story.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know what he had. That's my first time child. I just knew he regressed. And I knew he wasn't like this a few weeks ago. And so I didn't know what that was. We didn't know what autism. I didn't know anything. I just knew that something changed. And so going to the doctor and trying to figure out what that is. And the doctors kind of threw it off too. They kind of was like, oh, he's not talking. Our doctor that not the one that ended up diagnosing, but the other doctor was like, well, I got 3 kids. My middle kid didn't talk till they were 5. I'm like, okay, I really don't. I'm being honest. I didn't really care. I want my child.
Right.
I don't really care what you need to tell me why this kid has regressed
Right.
back.
Right.
So they kind of blew it off, and I had to push and press to get the results that we needed to see what was going on with him.
Gotcha.
But Brenda, I will always say it was God that told me to call her, because I had no idea that she was thinking about writing. I knew she had wrote and did stuff in the past and did plays, but it didn't connect. It was just like I was crying out to a girlfriend, like, I am completely over this and I'm at a bad spot. And so we have to do something. I need to do something happy to kind of get me through this journey and something to be proud about.
Yeah.
What a blessing to even have someone there. Thank you for being there, Brenda.
Oh, thank God.
You know what I mean? And just, I'm so happy that you found it, because many times I want someone to work with, but the competence level, the energy has to be right, you know, and that's not always easy to find. And so I say
that is very true
to you for doing that. So, and kudos to you for knowing that you had to choose a happy place to deal with the violence, you know, not to be on a victim level, but to choose a project to develop. And so let's talk a little bit about that project. Because you got 4 books or something. One is coming. I mean, like, this ain't even a one-time thing.
Nope.
This is like you created something. What's your first book that you created?
The first book is Neo and the Blue Balloon. When Mia said, I just have this vision that we should be looking at, you know, colors. She said, God just giving me colors. And so I said, okay. And honestly, I literally sat in the library and I just sat across from an empty chair and I thought, okay, God, somebody's got to appear. If this is going to be about Neo, I want to see this vision of this kid appear, and this kid needs to talk to me so that I can start writing. And I was, I saw the color blue, 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 and then, you know, you just get this vision, this blue balloon. And I was like, okay, we know what could happen when a kid sees a balloon. They get obsessed with that balloon.
Yep.
And oftentimes kids on the spectrum feel like they are ostracized. They don't have friends. Kids have incredible imagination.
Yes.
So that's really what Neo and the Blue Balloon, it just kind of, I'm going to say it, I felt like the kid came into me and I just started writing. You know, he was sitting across and this happened and this happened and this happened. And I have a little niece and I let her read a few of the pages and she said, well, I think that tree should talk. And I said, okay. And then I thought, well, heck, if the tree's going to talk, then the rock might as well talk. You know,
that's right.
The squirrel is already talking. So, you know, this is Neo's world. So I had to step out of me and into him. And then Mia, after I presented the story to her, she was like, hey, what do you think about having a bonus section? And so because we wanted the message to really be clear to people that each of these books develops character, not just for Neo, the character, but, you know, it's a great way for you to teach your kids about friendship, about following rules, about trusting, about courage. So we do it in a fun way, but then she hits it really. She really brings it home with the bonus section where there's a devotional. There's also comprehension questions, because it's not just kids on the spectrum who have a problem with comprehension. Shoot, all of us do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Mia can tell you a little bit more about how she developed that, you know, that extra bonus section.
Come on, bonus section. Talk about it.
Neo has always been connected to praying. And praying. Oh, even as a little kid, I mean, his first full sentence was, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That was the first sentence he ever said. And so he's always been connected to that. So I wanted to make sure we put him in that part too. And the comprehension questions, he would read books and read, and Brenda knows she'll read to him, and then we'd be like, "What did you read?" And he just look at us like, "I read it," like very matter of factly. We like, "No, what happened?" And so that's where their questions came in at, and at the end of trying to help other children also, because Brenda's right. I could read something too, and I got to read it 2 or 3 times to get the understanding. And so having those questions in the back can help those readers understand. And the devotion and the verse and the prayer is definitely a very good part of who he is.
Mhm.
And I also, the colors too. I just thought about this, Brenda. This has been so long ago. It's been 2015. I actually got it from the Coat of Many Colors, Joseph, the Coat of
That's
Many Colors.
right.
That's what I said, hey, I'm thinking about the Coat of Many Colors. And what if we did books with each color? But that's where I got it. It just came back to my memory of where I actually got the color thought pattern. I seen a coat. And so what we want to do later on, and as we say in every story, Neo has a coat, and then each time he accomplishes an adventure or a goal, he gets to add on a patch to the coat. So there's
Nice.
blue now, we had green and orange, and then it's going to be purple, depending on what the adventure or whatever it is. So that's where that comes from. We want to eventually have a coat with Neo and get the patches, and the kids be able to do that.
I love that. And I love the bonus section because it then engages the adults.
Yes, it does.
It gets them involved beyond just buying the book for the child, but it gives them something to look forward to, a tool to use. And it just makes it an overall activity. I want to know, what was, you said your son's name is Nehemiah?
Nehemiah.
Yeah, Nehemiah. What was his response to this first book?
Oh, he loves the book.
How old is he?
Loves it. He says, "That's me. That is me." He lets everybody know that's him. He lets everybody, this is my book. This is me. Out of all the books, the first one is still his favorite.
Okay.
He reads that often. He has the other books in his room, but he really likes the first one. He identifies with the rock talking, the tree talking. He identifies with that. He really does.
Yeah.
So he was ecstatic that he has something to connect to.
Got you. Look at that. Now, this is the first one with the blue balloon.
Right.
Everybody, that used to be my favorite color when I was little. And I think this is something about a blue. So I'm glad you chose that as your first color. What was your second book?
The second book is funny. The second book is called Not All Frogs Are Green. And that came about, it's actually a true story that happened to me. When, in my house one morning, I went into the bathroom. It's going to sound disgusting, but it gets better. There was a gray blob sitting on the rim of the toilet. And I thought, what in the world? What is that? And so, I bent down to get a closer look at it. And these beady eyes opened up and blinked at me. So I ran out of the room and I was screaming. I was literally running around in the living room in circles. You know what, Asada, you can Google anything. And so I Googled, how do you get, I Googled what it could be. And they said, well, it could be a frog. And I was like, how in the world would a frog? Who knows how a frog gets in your house? I lived in a wooded area. I had no idea. Little tree frog. And I'm thinking frogs are green, not gray. But I Googled and it said, hey, this frog can change colors. And so it literally gave instructions on how to get the frog out of the house. Initially, I just left it in the bathroom and said, forget it. Because this was night. So I got up in the morning and I looked in the bathroom. I thought I had barricaded this frog in the bathroom. I looked everywhere. It was not in there. I walked into the kitchen, it's sitting on the kitchen floor, looking up at me. And I was like, oh no.
Waiting for breakfast.
Girl. So I didn't have a net. I literally had to put this pail over it. And then I had to slide a piece of paper under that, flip it over, took it outside and dumped him out into the woods. And so when I thought, okay, the next book has got to be about this frog, and it is. It's the theme is courage, and in this one, Neo actually rescues his mom from the frog, but all that
Oh,
running around and screaming, it's not just something I would do. It's totally, this book is totally Mia. I mean,
I
Oh
it
yeah.
love
Oh
it
yeah.
features the
Absolutely.
mom, and it is totally what she would do.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that. I love this is what I want you to get, listeners. Take your everyday life experiences and make them a book, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make them, I
Yes.
mean, you don't have to search far and wide for concepts. They're
Yep.
right in your everyday, and the things that you discover and the things that need to be told and shared, because
Mhm.
that not only are an example of you, but people live vicariously through the experience. And I love the truth behind every story. I love that. If
Yeah.
you want to call in, guys, please feel free at 727-731-5192. If you would love to speak to these dynamic authors, we're going to find out a little bit more about them. It looks like we have a caller. So let me just see. We got 4638. You're on the air. Say your name and where you're calling from if you'd like to speak. Sometimes they shy. Yeah. All right, going once, going twice. All right, we're gonna leave it right there. But you gotta, they gotta check in. People may want to call in, but yeah,
Mhm.
want to call in, guys. 727-731-5192. So, guys, we got two books, and if you guys want to buy their books, there's their website right at the bottom, adventuresofneo.com. Okay, adventuresofneo.com. I'll leave that up on the screen so that you all can get an idea of, or jot it down while it's up there. But I want to talk a little bit more about your next book. What
Mm.
is your next book?
Well, the one after this one that's, it's already in print, is My Very, Very, Very Orange Day. Um, and that one actually has a lot of, truth in it as
Yeah,
well.
it does.
Yeah, because well, Mia, you want to tell them about that one and about, Marshall?
Marshall. So Neil, they got both, because I have another son too. Neil has a little brother. Both of them got a pet fish. I think the fish is called a beta, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
we had, and his name was Marshall. So that was their very first pet. And Marshall lived a long time, because I only thought these fishes lived about a week or two. Marshall lived 3 years.
Oh,
I don't know what type of I couldn't.
I love
Marshall
it.
was here a long time.
I love it.
So yes, so they got their very first pet. And so this is what this story is about: getting his first pet. And his first pet was actually, and because we wrote the story before we got
Exactly.
we did
Before you got the fish.
before we got Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
But that ended up
Yeah.
being
Right.
first pet.
The fish
Got
in
it.
the book, Asada, it turns out that it's a dragonfish.
Dragonfish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Leo, it's the day before his 6th birthday.
Birthday.
And
Yeah.
my goodness, and he's what, 16 now?
He's 16 now.
16 now,
Wow.
right.
Yeah, he's
So
16.
it's the day before his birthday, and he had declared that it was Orange Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when people read the book, they'll see that his mom just went all out for Orange Day. She went so in orange, her makeup, her nails, everything is orange, and it kind of freaked him out a little bit. But he knew that was the day that they were going to the pet store to get his first pet. And
Okay.
he wanted everything. He wanted an orange dragon at first.
Yeah.
He wanted an orange horse. He wanted an orange dog.
I
So
love that.
mom and dad took him to the pet store. And so they ended up, because mom did not want anything that pooped or, anything that made a mess, anything.
And
She
that's
really
very
had
true right
nothing.
now. This is all true stuff. I do not want any. And that, yes, this is real life here.
Mhm, mhm. So,
Nice.
so they got him this orange little dragonfish, and they named it Flash.
We named it Flash. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
In an upcoming book, and I won't spoil it too much, but in an upcoming book, Flash becomes an
Yeah.
actual flying dragon.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
So now, friend, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because Mia, you said that you knew Brenda had written some things and written some plays or what? Wait a minute. What? Like, how you know? Like, what is that, Brenda? What is that writing world?
Yeah.
And yeah, what? Because these stories sound so intriguing to me. You know, they have little nuances that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, right. This is how writers think. Writers think
Mm-hmm.
in details.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, orange nails, orange horse. Oh, yeah, really? Talking tree? Like, you know, so where did that come from? What is that writing background about?
You know, it comes for me. I came from a big family, have 5 older sisters, 2 younger brothers. I was the quiet one. I would sit in a corner and I would either be reading a book or writing a story. And my parents really encouraged that. I wrote a story. I remember when I was 11 and my dad had me read it to everybody, read it to everybody in the house, read it at church, read it to the neighbors, read it to whoever wanted to listen. And so I started realizing that I really liked this and people liked it. So they just kind of fostered that in me. So even when I started high school, I was in the creative arts workshop. Shout out to South Shore High School, Mr. Shapiro. He really encouraged me to pursue writing. And actually, Mr. Shapiro died just a few months ago. And I remember I sent him the first 3 books and he just raved. He was on Facebook saying, you know, this is my author. I knew she was going to do this. And, you know, and it just, for me, it was always a world that I could control and let my imagination do what it wanted to do. And with children's books, I mean, there are no limits. Everything can talk. We got fences talking. We got rocks talking. Neo's,
Squirrels.
yep,
Because
Neo's
people were
favorite.
obsessed with the squirrel. Yeah.
Yes, Neo's favorite characters. His favorite friends are that squirrel
The
Bob.
squirrel. Mhm.
Yeah, and you know, and his goldfish, and so he picks up. I mean, his dragonfish. He picks up different friends along the way. It really was something that I needed to get back to. And so when Mia pitched the idea after her sister said, "Look, you need to be writing again," so I'm like, "All right, let's just do it."
And Asada, I think for me, that's why I think we work so well together. I more am a journal writer. I got creative
Mm,
writing essay. I did a lot of essays when I was in school and I got creative writing awards for that. So mine was completely different, but then we bring us together. And then
yes.
that's when you were saying in the beginning of how 2 minds can be of different places and we come together. So the bonus and the journaling and the prayer, that fits more for my personality because that's how I wrote. A lot of the journal writing came from growing up being bullied a lot. And so I wrote out my feelings. I wrote out things. I wrote out what I wanted to happen. I wrote all that out. And then those turned into essays and short little stories where I was able to get creative writing awards from there. And so
Got
we just come together because her mind thinks a completely different way. But baby, when we come together, it's something powerful.
Ooh, something
So
powerful.
I want to encourage, readers out there that however your style is or whatever it is, that's for you and you have a place in this world, however that way it comes out. And it does not have to
Right.
come out because Brenda's can sometimes may be intimidating. Like, how is she coming up? No, that is her style. It comes from her background. And then mine is from this one. So definitely if people are wanting to write and wanting to, what is your style? What is your background and how do you come out? You create it that way and it's going to be creative to you and it's going to resonate with somebody out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Y'all are no joke. And you're such an inspiration because that union needs to be seamless. You know, when you're
It
working
has
with
to be.
somebody, you
Yeah.
don't, not
Yeah.
about a competition. It's not about
Oh, no.
whose ideas. You got to know what skill set people are bringing to the table.
Yes.
And then you play the game,
Yeah.
based on, what the skills are for
Yes.
each individual person. So I love that you all have that down pat. So what we're going to do real quick is take a commercial break. But when we come back, we are going to get into that last title It's not the last forever, but it's that next title. But we're also going to get sort of into your experiences, because y'all are out there doing the thing. Y'all are not letting those books sit in the living room.
Oh, no.
No.
Right.
So let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages, beautiful people. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
All right, you guys, thank you for that little break intermission. And today we have my girl Brenda Major and Mia Dawson on, their children's authors. You guys, they are going to be at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair on August 9th, big time. We actually had a comment come on in. Somebody says, what is the best way to get started with a new book? Ooh, Gary. So that's a great question. Anybody want to go ahead and take a stab?
You know, that is a great question. And Mia knows I also do some ghostwriting for people.
Nice.
So sometimes,
yeah, I'll be sending her all kind of business.
She does. She does. She's like, talk to her.
Talk to her.
I actually start out asking people, because, you know, everybody has a story.
Yep.
And some stories, you know, are personal to you. And so you think that everybody's going to want to read it, but every story isn't, you know what I mean? Not quite there. So I know, girl, look. I know.
She has, Asada, she has come to some people and be like, hey, I think you need to kind of, and people be like, what? And but she has a very good spirit of saying, hey, this is not, yeah, Brenda, you do a really good job at that, because you've had a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. So with some people, I ask them what the message is they want to convey, and who are they talking to?
Yeah.
And what do you want the reader to come away with?
Yeah.
So that, I think, to answer your caller's question, those are the three things that the person wants to ask themselves, so that they know that it's even something that is a book that people will read. And it looks like it's Gary. So Gary, it looks like if you've got a burning, compelling story, what do you want the people who are reading it to take away from that?
Yeah.
After they read it, what's the experience that you want to share, and who are you talking to? Because every book doesn't appeal to everybody.
That's
And
very
so
true.
if you think like, okay, I'm writing this to this particular person,
Mhm.
then you've got something, because there's millions of that particular person. But if you just say everybody wants to know about my story, well, everybody may not. Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
have something burning inside you that you can't wait to get out, and then you got to know what you want that message to be.
perfect. I also want to add, I feel like everybody has a book in them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just start writing. Like,
Yeah.
don't like that. What they say, analysis paralysis. Don't do that. I feel like just write the things that you're thinking, because your thoughts
Yep.
are words.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they
Put
are.
it in your mind, just put them on paper. And I always tell people, write in categories. So if you have a particular thing to say, if it's not a children's book and it's a chapter book or whatever,
Right.
just
Yes.
write in sections. You could put it together later, but just
Correct.
you have things to say about a particular topic, and then
Correct.
you do that, right, and get that
Right.
done. I
I
think
think
if
that's beautiful, because
yeah,
you
Yeah.
really
that's
do. When that book starts to bubble up inside you,
uh-huh.
Yep.
you got to
Very
come
true.
out. And so you're right. Start writing things
Just love it.
down. And I tell people that a lot. It may not even make sense to you at the time.
Right. Right.
Write it down,
Right.
because you're right. Then you can have somebody help you with it if you need to pull it
Yeah.
all together later. But you're right. Don't just think about it. Start
Don't think
writing.
about it. That analysis paralysis. I have a book that'll be
Mhm.
coming out for
Ooh.
the book fair. It's an anthology. It's called He's Out: Tales of
Mm.
Marriage After Prison. And so it's
Oh.
women who have been married to brothers.
Brenda heard of
But the thing I want to say about this scenario, I had to tell them, because they want to be anonymous, is
Okay.
stop thinking about, oh, I got to change the name. I got to just write the story,
Yeah.
write the story with their name in it, whatever,
Yeah.
and then we can change that on the back end and then
Correct.
get it out. I want to say, for writing a children's book, let me say this, because this is so important. People say, children's authors, when I say, who's your book for? They go, oh, it's for everybody. I'll be like, oh, look, a
Nope.
first grade reading level and an eighth grade reading level is different.
It is.
Mhm.
They
It
give
is.
them letters, even. Like, what are you talking about? You can't, it's
Yeah.
not for everybody. And I know what they want to say. They want to say, a young person can read it, but it can be read too and so say that, but it's
Yes.
not for everybody. My daughter's book, her book came out when she was 7. So therefore it reflects a first and second grade reading level, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Just because she's 21 right now, people go like, oh, they want to inspire the kids. Your 13-year-old and 14-year-old don't want to read that,
Right.
because that's not their book. They don't
Right.
care that the girl made, So I'm just saying, for those of you that are going to write for children, please make sure that you identify who you're talking to. You all just said that.
Yep.
Is it for kindergarten level? Is it one sentence per page? Are there paragraphs per page, so that it matches reading
Correct.
levels? I think that's very important to do.
Yeah.
What age group are your books for?
It's going to sound a little bit odd. It's really for birth to about 12.
Okay.
About 12. And the reason I say birth to 12 is because we consider this, I think we created a new category, Asada. These are read along books.
Come on.
Read along adventure books.
Mhm.
Because they're more than just pictures. And sometimes people will tell us, oh, you have too many words on the page.
Correct.
So, but when we wrote these books, we designed them so that the first experience may be a parent or a caregiver reading the book to the child.
Correct.
And the pictures that are, beautifully illustrated by our good friend Chloe Vasilio.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So you're reading to the child initially, just like we did with Neo.
Correct.
And then the kid will connect the pictures, the characters, the words, and they'll start reading with you. And then they will start reading as they get older. They'll read the book to you.
I see. Got you. Got you. So y'all heard that, right? This is how this works with them, you know, getting a student to start off having the book read to. And honestly, that's how we've learned. That's how I learned how to read. My mother read, I've had this book about these monkeys, dum diddy diddy dum dum, growing up. People thought I could read, but I didn't know how to read yet. I just memorized the book. I was like 2 years old or something like that, but my mother would read it to me so much that I did memorize it, and so I'd be saying it along with the book, right? So this is how then now you all can get the experience and have them mirror. You know, words are just symbols. That's all words are symbols, and so you can have them understand the symbols for the sounds, the symbols for the pictures, and all of that. So I like that you have this sort of experiential learning and progress going now.
And when an autistic, Sada, I'm sorry, because with the autistic mind too, we also put all those different flavors in, because you're going to get a different reader when they're autistic. Some of them, they only can look, the pictures are what, they don't even read the words, but the pictures are what drawing them in. Others like Neo, they not really concentrating on the pictures almost. They love the words. They're touching the words. We get kids that open the books and you can see them taking their hands and touching and feeling the words.
Wow.
Okay, we've had parents say it was too many words. Well, that particular kid did not like that. So we tried to, well, we didn't do it on purpose. It kind of, it flowed, and God kind of, it happened like that, that it's touching each one of these children who are on the spectrum. I mean, other kids who are not on the spectrum actually read it, but the kids that are on the spectrum, you can get it from each level. And so we've seen that happen too.
Got you. See, y'all are listening, right? When you're making your list, and again, I'm going to put up the website for these books. You can, you don't have to wait till August 9th for the book fair to buy them. You can buy them right now at adventuresofneo.com. The website is at the bottom. Now, I have another book that looks so tantalizing. When is this coming out? Is this out already?
We are, it is at the publishers.
It sure is.
Our goal is to have it premiere at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair.
I know that's right. Yay, Hercules. You know, I'm actually making the theme for this year. I don't have the title, but it's about people who are debuting books. Because so you'll be, and those of us that are debuting books, we are going to be part of the procession in the beginning.
Oh, sweet.
Where we because I have a float, and I usually have elders on the float that are part of our community, and I'm going to have us lead the float. So you'll be there, I'll be there. But talk about this book.
Yeah, we love this book. This just was the natural next step, because Orange Day was 2 days before Neo's birthday.
So
now his birthday is here. He has decided the color is purple.
Nice.
So you know his mama is representing in all of her purple. She got purple streaks in the hair.
Nice.
Even his nana, grandma comes in and they get whipping their hair with the purple streaks. So everything is purple. He's eating purple cereal. They're got the purple cake, the purple everything. This book, though, teaches him about personal responsibility. So without giving too much away, sometimes with not just with autistic kids, but with a lot of kids, when they get overly stimulated, you know how you have a kids party, but it's a bunch of adults there.
Oh God, yeah.
And Neo got overwhelmed and he took off. So this adventure really takes him on an adventure.
Nice. And so, you know, first of all, Black people love purple. I don't know what that is, but it just this is one of them colors, boy. We gravitate, and I love the cover art for this particular book, because you really went there, and it really is like, ooh, the purple, like you want to see what's going on. But I also love the nuances of Black life. Purple hair, purple nails, like that's Black. What? Like let's get it home. You know, those are things that are just in our culture. To add these nuances to the book is real. You know, so you don't have to, it's not fantasy. It is for real.
Yeah.
You can go right to the beauty supply store and you'll see right there, boop, all the colors that you could add to your hair. But I love this is the continual engaging of adults to keep them feeling connected. Do these books, the ones that follow the first one and this one, do they also have that bonus section, or does just the first book have that bonus section?
Everyone has the bonus section. And we added a special surprise to this one. We actually added an activity book. So I came to Brenda. I said, hey, what about we add an activity book? Because what we were seeing, we're traveling so much and we're seeing in these fairs that some kids on the spectrum cannot read or anything at all, but they like to maybe write or color or draw. So we provided an activity book with coloring, with crossword, with in cursive writing. Some of the parents were so excited because they don't know how to do cursive writing anymore. So we were like, we're adding in cursive writing in there. Their numbers. So they will when you buy this particular book, you can get an activity book with it. I think that's how we're going to sell it. Or we're going to sell the activity book separate. Yeah. Because and we actually we went somewhere. Actually, that was in Springfield. We went and we tried it out and the kids loved it. We did like a little prototype and the kids loved it. They can color and create their own inside the activity book.
Well, so, looks like look, we got a little comment. Somebody Barry said, I'd like to have you call me. It looked like you got a new client. Let me write down his
got
number.
A new client.
Oh my goodness.
I'd like to have you call me. It says the year. This sounds like his idea. It's not children based, but it says the years with President Obama should be a book in cycles as in different volumes. When there's so much content with over 10 million pages, it would be a table book with editor stories.
Wow.
So cool. It sounds like something. You right. You got that number down, girl?
I wrote it down.
All right, Gary. Look, Gary, y'all better come on here and get the work done. Get the connection. Okay, perfect.
Very good.
That's actually, and it's a great idea.
Isn't it a great idea? This is what the Gathering of the Griots is about, because as writers, first of all, there's a vulnerability with writing.
Yeah.
Because your friends and your family aren't necessarily all supportive.
Come on.
Because they still see you as who they knew you as growing up, the person who did XYZ. So they're not necessarily like all about your future dreams and all of that.
True.
No shade to families, but I'm just saying we therefore need to support each other in this industry, in this literary industry, because of that vulnerability, because there are trust issues. And I'm gonna tell you from the Soulful Chicago Book Fair standpoint, and being connected to so many authors, we got self-esteem issues. And we need people to help us believe that this should be done, like that we're worth doing this work, and to have that confidence to get your stuff pulled out. I think it's very important. So I do want to say I'm glad y'all are here. If you're watching, rocking with these beautiful authors, don't even get it twisted. Mia Dawson and Brenda Major. Look, I'm like mixing y'all up. Like, wait a minute.
People do that.
I know. But what I want to get into is you all have experiences with the books, not just that the books are out, but you actually have experiences. And I mean, look at this with you all, with people, and talk a little bit about what are we looking at? Where are you guys? And this is just one of many events that I've seen.
Where was Brenda, that was at Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
We were there. Yeah, we were at Barnes and Noble, and we did a book signing at Barnes and Noble. That's what that was at. Yes.
Nice. And so
that
now
was for the second book. Yep.
Now, is this where is this Barnes and Noble?
That was in Springfield, Brenda.
That was Springfield.
Yeah, that was in Springfield. Yeah.
Nice. And so, are you currently being carried by that now? Was that something special for a particular time, or
that was special at the time? We do have books in a local bookstore here in Decatur, and of course you can buy them online.
Yeah.
But Mia's really I would say the hype man for for the books. And people will come up and ask, hey, because people don't know, like you're saying, people don't really know local authors
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
who've actually published books. So
Yes.
so we've been invited, and which we love to do, to different events where we get to talk about the writing process,
Yes.
read the books to kids. We've been invited, we've done several book readings at schools.
Oh my
Nice.
God. Love
And
that. Love
yeah,
that. Oh
and
gosh.
it gives us a chance to talk not only about the process, but about anything that these kids are thinking that they may want to write. I mean, we
Mhm.
were at a school last year. We were in a second grade class of
Yeah.
writers. These
Yeah.
kids had written books, and they read some of their books to us, and we read to them.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible experience to be out there and actually, touch and interact with kids in this way.
I love it. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to tell, if you all don't know, anybody watching, if you do want your book in Barnes and Noble, all you have to do is find out who they get their books from. There's about
Mhm,
5 to 7
mhm,
entities. It
Mhm.
might be Ingram Books, it might be whatever. There's some real big ones in there, a couple of small ones. But all you got to do is get your book in the hands of those organizations.
mhm.
Correct.
And then when Barnes and Nobles goes to order, they can order your book from those
Correct.
organizations.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
it's something to know. So yes, indeed. Let's keep it going. Oh, what is this about? How fun is this?
So what? That's Pizza Ranch, and yes, we
Yes.
did a fundraiser. And we did it during Autism Month. So it's been a few years ago. We did that, and at Pizza Ranch, they actually let businesses come in and fundraise and talk about your business and whatever for us it was our books. And so we came in and we raised money. And what we did at Pizza Ranch was we weren't the servers, but we cleaned up after
Mhm.
everybody. So that's how they do the fund, and the tips go to the organization. So
Oh,
we came
wow.
in and the servers were there and we wiped off the tables. We were able to come in and talk to people about autism and their experiences and what was going on. And Neil kind of came around and waved at people. He actually wiped some tables off.
Wait a
And
minute.
so
Is one of these boys Neil?
Yeah.
what'd you say?
Are one of these boys Neil?
Yeah, Neil's in the gray.
Ah,
Mhm.
Yeah, Neil's in the gray. And then my youngest son, which is his brother, is holding Not All Frogs Are Green.
Mhm.
nice. So how
We
old
were
is Neil
able to do
now?
that fundraiser and
Yeah.
and meet so many. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
How
Neil
old is
was
Neil now?
what? Yeah. He was
How old is
about
he?
11
He had
then.
to be about
maybe?
11.
But did you say he's 16 now?
He's 16 now.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
He's a
Neil,
big,
baby.
all teenage boy. Yeah,
I
Mhm.
love it. I
all
love it.
teenage boy.
Now talk about this. Where
Oh,
was this? This is
yeah.
another environment.
Yeah, this was
This
fun.
is
This
Brenda's
was
spot right here.
this was a book launch that we
Yep.
did at a bookstore here in Decatur called Novel Ideas, Books and Gifts. And so next to me is our illustrator Chloe Vasilio.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so she came over. We had a lot of people come over, a lot of buzz there.
Yep.
And we got actually connected with Chloe through Mia's sister Sparkle,
Yes.
who
Nice.
taught at the college where Chloe was a student at the time, and so
Yes.
found out that she loves to illustrate books, that she
Mhm.
really gravitated toward kids' books. And what we wanted her to do was, we didn't want that very polished look that a lot of books have. Nothing wrong
Sure.
with that. But we
But we
really
didn't.
wanted it to look like maybe a kid drew this.
Yeah.
Sure. It looks
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
watercolory, like,
Yeah.
watercolors. And
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was going to
Yeah.
ask you who your
Yeah.
illustrator was, because I do love the simplicity of
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
art,
Mhm.
because as a child, I would be able to relate to that,
Mhm.
as something that wasn't far-fetched from what I could create, So,
Mhm.
I do love that. So she's here in Illinois.
She is. She's in
Yeah.
Champaign.
Yeah.
And that character that Mia is standing next to, it's about a 4.5 foot cutout of Neo, and we take that
Oh,
everywhere we go. And kids, oh my
Oh
God,
my
kids will
God.
come up, they'll dance with them. We the
that's
last
right.
year we were at, we had to watch it because this kid was bouncing him around. I was like, okay, please don't break the thing. But they
I
get so
love that.
engaged with the character, they come
Yeah.
right
Yep.
up to him. We've had kids kiss him, take pictures with him. This is the first time a kid was kind of
Was
dancing
actually
around
bouncing it.
him.
Yeah.
Right, right. But that's ingenious idea. Taking pictures with
Mhm.
Neo.
Yes.
Yeah.
As they buy a book, they need to take a picture with Neo.
Well, and they have asked to us that they were like, "Where is Neo?" So
Mhm.
me and Brenda started getting like they didn't want to see us no more. They like, "Where Neo at?"
Right.
Oh,
And
that's
so
so funny.
they're wanting to actually see, is he real? So I would sometimes, because Neo can get overstimulated if we, and especially if we're going to
Yeah,
bigger settings.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
would put a picture there, and then is he coming to the next one? When is he going to be here? They was like they didn't want to see me and Brenda no more. They
Oh,
wanted to see Neo.
wow.
They wanted to see
They
Neo.
do. They get that celebrity. When my daughter's book first came out, it came out when she was 7 years old, but they were so enamored by her. Like they were
Mm.
just like, "You're an author? You made this book?"
Yeah.
And so it does something for even my daughter, to be she's a Virgo, so she don't really say much. But she's not all braggadocious like her mama, who's an Aquarius. But
That's why she got you.
hey, that's right. So, but you really could see the pride,
Yes.
in her, even as a little girl, to be
Mhm.
a part of a storyline. And so I think does so much for the skill set of our children who
Yes.
grow up sort of feeling what fame is like. It ain't got to be Beyonce fame, but just this, all a celebrity means is a celebrated person. And
Yeah.
so for them to feel like a
Yes.
celebrated person is
Yes.
important. So important. Now let me see if we have any other goodies here. Hey, what's this
Oh,
for you?
hey.
So I know what this is. This is at the book fair you were at of mine, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the
It is.
Chicago Book
It is.
Fair.
So that was, I think, like 2018ish or something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
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 And we were so excited to be there. I had attended one before we decided to go and do the next one. I went with a friend and my sister,
Mhm.
and I came away. Well, I bought a lot of books. That's one thing. But I came away from there was so much energy, so much creativity.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
said,
So
Mia,
much.
if we get a chance to be there, oh man, we need to be
And
there.
the food was great. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm
I'm
still
so
thinking about one of the places I stopped by for the food, one of the food trucks. I still talk about
Mhm.
it. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just love it. I think that was a great year. And I'm glad to hear you all say those things, because one thing about the book fair, I'm so happy that God gave it to me to create. But one thing
Mhm.
about the book fair is I had this author say to me, he said, one thing about your event is that book buyers come to your event. Like people
Yes.
are into books that come to the event. And that's something that I wanted to create. I'm from New York. We have a book fair there.
Mm.
But there are two blocks of books, right? Authors, but then they
Mhm.
have a third block of general merchandise. And
Oh,
our people got a psychosis, so they're going to the general merchandise first.
Yeah.
They're going to get some shea butter, incense,
Mhm.
yeah.
uh, a bunch of whatever.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
my thing is, no, this is just books, period.
Mm.
Nothing else. And so people do come to our event because they want to look for books. They come to that children's row because they want to
Mhm.
buy books for their grandchildren, or
Yeah.
their children. They go to nonfiction. Grown folks go to fiction and get those. So I'm really happy about, what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear you all saying what it is, because this year gonna be slapping.
Woo-hoo.
Oh
We
my
excited.
God, it's so good. I can already feel it. So we got like a minute left. What do you
Okay.
want to leave the audience with? Give some words of wisdom in this last minute, 30 seconds piece.
Yeah. I'm gonna say embrace the child in you. Celebrate that inner child. We've even seen it, really adults even flip through the book.
Mhm.
Celebrate that inner child. Know that you have a story. Get it out there. Somebody needs to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Dream big. Dream.
Mhm.
I always sign when I sign my books. Dream big. Dream big. You can accomplish your dreams. Whatever you think in the most wildest, crazy thing. Dream big.
I love it. So there you have it, you guys. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Authors Brenda Major and Mia Dawson. We got Adventures of Neo. You see their website at the bottom. Y'all go get those books and see them in the procession August 9th, baby, because they'll be there with all the books. Have a good one. We'll see you all next Tuesday for Gathering of the Griots. Peace.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jareth. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.